This is TWiT.
Let's get right into the tech feed, shall we? Google may start putting pressure on its partners to put its own apps and services at the forefront of most Android phones. Amir Efrati of The Information says that he's obtained confidential documents that show Google wants its partners to place more of its apps on Android phones and feature them in more prominent places. Now, part of this is to increase consistency in the Android experience across devices, but may spell trouble for a company like Samsung, which offers its own TWiT software to its Android devices. As part of the updated contract, Google is also requiring at least one of its partners to increase the number of Google-made apps from 9 in 2011 to 20 in 2014. And manufacturers may not have much of a choice here because Android currently holds an overwhelming 85% of the global smartphone market. That's as of July 2014, according to Strategy Analytics. After an iOS 8 HealthKit flaw forced Apple to pull third-party HealthKit apps from the App Store, the company is finally letting them back in. One of the first apps to show up is called Fitport, which acts as a replacement dashboard for health information. All the data is getting synced back into the health database on iOS. HealthKit apps were originally supposed to return to the store with iOS 8.0.1, but if you're unlucky enough to have installed that, you know that it disabled many users' cellular and Touch ID access, if you're an iPhone 6 user anyway. Apple then had to pull that update about an hour and a half into pushing it out after it was released. Now that 8.0.2 is out, went out last night, Apple appears ready, finally, to give App Store customers access to HealthKit. But what a mess that was. According to Apple, less than 40,000 iPhone 6 and 6 Plus devices were affected by the iOS 8.0.1 bugs. Must have been just all of my Twitter friends. All the tech people are in those 40,000. But the company did issue an apology alongside the release of iOS 8.0.2 for those affected. Yesterday on TN2, our guest, Steve Gibson, also the host of Security Now, explained a little bit about how the exploit Shellshock works and that it's quite a big deal. It accesses a Unix command shell and language, including in a lot of different device operating systems, including Apple's OS X. Apple now says it's aware of the exploit and is working quickly to provide a software update. However, the company tells iMore that, quote, the vast majority of iOS X users are not at risk to recently reported bash vulnerabilities. With OS X, systems are safe by default and not exposed to remote exploits of bash unless users configure advanced Unix services. So if you have, you probably already know who you are. However, Shellshock is still a big deal because it reportedly affects most Unix and Linux-based operating systems. That's globally around the world, making millions of computers and embedded devices vulnerable and required to be updated as soon as possible. We got some sort of good news coming out of BlackBerry. BlackBerry CEO John Chen has announced that the company has taken 200,000 orders of its new Passport handset since its launch on Wednesday. Chen says the Passport sold out in 6 hours on its own website and in 10 hours on Amazon. AT&T has also confirmed it will sell the Passport, but as of yet hasn't provided a price or date of availability. The smartphone's unlocked version is going for $599 in the U.S., so it's undercutting the iPhones and the Samsung Galaxies. BlackBerry provided an initial small order, which obviously contributed to selling out quickly, although Chen says a larger order will come in next Wednesday. BlackBerry also reported a smaller quarterly loss today than recent quarters, which could point to the company turning things around. BlackBerry reported a net loss of $207 million or 39 cents per share for the second quarter that ended August 30th, which is smaller than compared with a year earlier loss of $965 million or $1.84 per share. It's still a loss, but analysts were expecting worse. More legal trouble for rideshare companies Uber and Lyft and Sidecar. All three companies received letters from the San Francisco and Los Angeles district attorneys in California, claiming that they're operating illegally and need to make major changes. The two district attorney offices conducted a joint investigation into the companies and found that a number of practices say that they violate California law and represent, quote, a continuing threat to consumers and the public. specifically Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar, are all accused of misleading customers by falsely claiming their background checks of drivers screen out anybody who has committed a variety of criminal offenses. The district attorneys also told the three companies that their new shared ride service fares are calculated in a way that violates state law. The companies have been asked to respond to the letters by next Monday and meet with representatives of the district attorney's office by October 8th. If not, the prosecutors are prepared to file legal actions seeking injunctive relief and civil penalties. Earlier today, Reuters reported that Yahoo is exploring a strategic combination partnership with AOL. And a lot of people said, what in the heck is that all about? It appears that the root of this story stems from a letter from Yahoo activist investor Jeffrey Smith of Starboard, and they have a lot of Yahoo shares, to Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer, and urging her to combine Yahoo's business with AOL's. He also has a lot of other demands. He wants her to sell Yahoo stakes in Alibaba and Yahoo Japan, cut costs by $250 million to $500 million per year, and stop acquiring startups that don't add to revenues. According to the letter published by Business Insider, Smith thinks that the combined companies could cut $1 billion worth of costs.